Good morning, everybody, sports fans, pop culture fans, and yes, Silver Surge fans everywhere. I am once again your host, Silver Surge, returning to you with another exciting content video. Today I want to rehash a video that I had already made. I want to basically gloss over it and just kind of redo it. I didn't like the way it turned out, so I'm just going to be remaking that video today. Today's topic covers the state of the Arizona Cardinals and how the 2018 season went and how it's shaping up the 2019 off season where we're currently at. So let's start things off. I wanted to let you guys know that I'm really excited to be wearing this Cardinal hoodie. I found it like 3 or 4 days ago, and I barely have worn it, so it's practically new. But it's really nice. It's made by Reebok, and it's super cozy. And I've been wearing it a lot now because we've been having some frigid temperatures here in Phoenix lately. This last week or so, we've been getting like temperatures in the 30s and 40s in the morning, and then low 50s at night, and we've been getting some scattered rain showers and a little bit of sleet. So it's just been very unusual outside the norm for the desert. So I'm actually enjoying the cold weather, and I like staying toasty in my jacket. So anyway, enough of the personal crap. Let's move on to the topic at hand. So the Arizona Cardinals, they endured probably the worst season in franchise history. They were 3-13. They finished with the #1 overall pick in April's draft with the 3-13 record. And it's probably about as bad as you can imagine the season had gone. We began the year under head coach Steve Wilkes by losing to the Washington Redskins 24-6 in our own building. So we were blown out. We scored a touchdown and then failed, I think, on a 2-point conversion. It was pretty sad. And then week 2, we lost 34-0 to the Los Angeles Rams. So if that doesn't warrant a red flag already to a brand new coaching staff, I don't know what does. It got worse from there. We ended up, like I said, finishing with the worst record in the NFL. Our 3 wins came against the 49ers twice in our division. One of those games we had to rally back in dramatic fashion to win, and then we beat the Packers miraculously up at Lambeau Field. But that Packers game was a fluke because Green Bay was just trash this year, and if they were as good as they typically are, we would have gotten smoked. So I don't really put much merit into that. I was excited at the time, but turns out the Packers were just really trash this year, so we got lucky. But anyway, yeah, Steve Wilkes, man, that coaching staff was just an absolute joke this season. It was very disappointing because I had very high expectations. He spoke very well, like he sounded like he knew what he was doing. He owned the room. In the interview process, he sounded like he was really excited to take over a head coaching gig and get his first opportunity. He was previously the defensive coordinator for 1 year under Ron Rivera with the Carolina Panthers, and then he was their defensive back coach for a few years. But some coaches have it, and some coaches just don't. And unfortunately, Wilkes is one of those coaches who just doesn't have it as a head coach. He couldn't do it. He kind of irked me a lot over the season, and that's putting it mildly, with my opinion. He was very stubborn and very ignorant in his approach to game planning week in and week out. We lost over and over again, and repeatedly after every home loss or away loss, whatever. He kept repeatedly blaming lack of execution. Nobody's filling their gaps or tackling well or whatever. He kept coming with up with every excuse in the book, other than blaming himself, and he took no accountability, and it really pissed off the fans. Because the players, especially, I'm sure, were not happy with him because he would always blame the lack of execution from NFL players. He wasn't saying, "Oh yeah, this is on me." I got to do a better job making sure our guys are prepared. None of that. He was always like, "Yeah, the schemes were great. I had a really good game plan, but just a lack of execution." And he said that repeatedly every week. So it got to a point where he just became unlistenable during post-game press conference because he had nothing new to say. It was the same garbage every single week. He showed a lot of inexperience by refusing to adjust his play calling, his schematics, and he one thing that really pissed off everybody too was the fact that he kept trying to force our defense to play in a 4-3 system when we were known for being a 3-4 defense. For the four or five seasons under Bruce Arians, we thrived, and we were like a top 10 defense in the league in a 3-4 system. And then in one season, Wilkes blew all that up, tried to force a square peg into a round hole, and he started playing players that weren't even starting caliber. He benched superstars like Daniel Buchanan because they weren't working in his 4-3 system that he did over in Carolina. And that's just extremely irresponsible, because it's like, as a head coach, you're supposed to adjust your play calling to fit the skill sets of your stars. And instead, you're just trying to force the players into your scheme. And if they're not working, you just bench them. It's like, that's dumb. It just makes no sense. And he did things all season long that just made you shake your head. Like, for example, we played the Broncos in prime time. I think it was like week 6. And we got our ass kicked. It was one of like 5 blowout losses throughout the season. We lost 42-10. And 2 minutes left in the game, right? And it's 42-10, and Josh Rosen's been taking a beating. And you leave him in the game. Like, why do you not pull your rookie quarterback with 2 minutes left in the game? Like, we have nothing to gain at this point. Except maybe, you wanted to give him more reps, but that makes no sense when you're getting annihilated. You don't want him to get hurt. And that's exactly what happened. Someone rolled up on his leg, and he thankfully just bruised it, but it could have been a lot worse. He could have torn his ACL. He could have broken his leg. And at the end of the game, he's like, yeah, on second thought, I probably should have pulled Josh Rosen. I probably didn't make a good decision. It's like, you think? So, like, the dude was completely lost. Like, he just didn't have it. And it makes me also mad because at the end of the season, Michael Bidwell ultimately decided to fire Steve Wilkes. And the fan base overwhelmingly agreed with that decision, myself included. He just did not deserve a second chance at all. He didn't do anything to prove that he did. And it makes me mad that a lot of fans around the league and experts alike are saying he didn't get a fair shot or a fair shake. And it's like you don't have a clue what we went through as Cardinal fans this season. You didn't watch every game from beginning to end like we did. We didn't see a single area of improvement the entire season in all phases of the game. Our offense was absolute trash. Our defense was a joke, and that was something he was supposed to excel at and be a guru at. And then our special teams were just okay. It wasn't as bad as years past because we don't have Amos Jones anymore. But it's just like we didn't improve anywhere. And it all just stems back to the coaching. You have to be accountable. You have to try to make changes and create a spark somewhere. And if you're not willing to adjust, then what are you doing? Like, why are you the head coach? Why are you even here? So I'm furious with fans and experts around the league because they don't know what went down here. They look at the record and say, oh, he didn't have anyone to work with. You didn't give him a fair shot. You can't expect him to blossom with 1 year under his belt without giving him a few years. It's like, you don't even know what we went through. You don't know how bad it was. You don't know how, like I said, asinine his play calling was, how ignorant he was, how stubborn he was, especially. And it's just like, you guys have no right to tell us that we didn't deserve to fire. Oh, not that we didn't deserve it. We didn't have a right to fire Steve Wilkes after 1 season. You have no right to tell us that we shouldn't have fired Wilkes after 1 season because you weren't there, you didn't watch. And I have friends too that tell me the same thing. They're just like, yeah, you guys should not have fired Steve Wilkes. You give him a fair shake. I'm like, did you watch any Cardinal games this season? No. Oh, you didn't? Well, then shut up. It's like, you just cannot judge us off the record without having watched the entire season. And every talk show host, every player, everyone that's really centrally focused with the Cardinals would tell you the same thing. If you didn't watch this team from week 1 to week 16, you have no right to tell us that we made a mistake in firing Wilkes after 1 season. And I stand firmly behind that stance. So I wish him the best. He's a good person. He's a good man. But he is not meant to be a head coach. He just does not have what it takes to be an NFL head coach. I do know that he just got a position with the Cleveland Browns as their defensive coordinator, and I hope he thrives there. I hope he does well. But I will not ever welcome him back to Arizona as a coach. It's just not happening. So, on that said, getting off the negatives now, I'm really excited moving forward with our new head coach. His name is Cliff Kingsbury. He's the former head coach of Texas Tech University. He was let go after 5 seasons. He posted a 35-40 record overall. But I don't really put much stock into the overall record because he runs an air raid type offense, and they put up big numbers over there at Texas Tech. They were high scoring, high um, running gun type octane offense, and I don't know if that's the right word choice, but it's just a high, fast paced offense. And I think that's exactly what Josh Rosen needs to flourish in this league because a lot of fans locally are calling him a bust and they're calling him trash already, and it pisses me off because it's like you don't know the half of it. We had our entire offensive line on injured reserve for the entire season. We kept shuffling the deck and putting practice squad players on the line, so he didn't even have a consistent offensive line to work with. Our wide receiving corps led the league in receiver drops. The only reliable receivers on the team were Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk, but everyone else was trash. Chad Williams didn't cut it. You know, we had J.J. Nelson is a complete joke. He's quick but can't catch. So it's just like he had his receivers let him down. He had no O line, and so it's like no wonder he was throwing interceptions and taking sacks because he didn't have anybody to work with. He had no faith in his O line or his receivers, so he was always trying to make plays happen. He was trying to take over, and he had a head coach who didn't know what the hell he was doing. So it's like Josh Rosen was forced to try to be innovative and take the reins himself, and it just wasn't working. So, you know, with Cliff Kingsbury, who's an offensive guru, I really expect a turnaround in 2019 with Josh Rosen. I'm really excited about that. And fun note, Cliff Kingsbury did groom Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes. Two quarterbacks who are shining in the league right now, and Patrick Mahomes, speaking of which, is playing in the AFC Championship this week against the Patriots. And if they win, they're going to the Super Bowl. So I'm excited for that. And again, all the naysayers and haters that say this was a garbage hire and the Cardinals were being stupid, they point to the record, the 35-40 record, and say, hey, you know what? He didn't accomplish anything at Texas Tech. Well, it's like, you know what? Look at his statistics and how high powered the offenses were run and how many points they put up. And besides, the Big 12 conference isn't known for having any defense, and his defensive staff wasn't even good. This time around in the NFL, Steve Keim, our general manager, is assembling his defensive staff. We just brought in Vance Joseph to be our new defensive coordinator. He's the former head coach of the Denver Broncos. Now, granted, he was fired this season as the Broncos head coach, but I think he was in a similar situation as Steve Wilkes, where a great coordinator, a great person, but he just didn't have what it takes to be a head coach and oversee everything. That being said, the Broncos did have a top 15 defense for the 2 years he was their head coach, so it couldn't be anywhere near as bad as what Wilkes had or did. And Vance Joseph runs a 3-4 scheme, which is what we excel at. So I fully expect us to get back to where we were under Bruce Arians, defensively at least, and start making an impact again. And I'm really excited about that. On the offensive line, we brought in Sean Kugler. He is a very experienced offensive line coach, and he's known to get the most out of nothing as far as offensive line play. He's a very talented coach, and he was very sought after this offseason. So I'm very excited that we acquired him because our offensive line has been our Achilles heel for years. And you just watch, if we get our offensive line intact and solid this entire season, Josh is going to look leaps and bounds better, I promise you, especially with Kingsbury calling the plays now, because we're going to be an air raid slash, offense, modern day scheme, I'm guessing, because he's gonna take a lot of what he did in college and blend it with modern day offensive schemes. So I'm really excited. I wasn't really excited about the Steve Wilkes. Even before he flopped, I was just kind of like cautiously optimistic because I was like, well, he's a new coach, so let's hope he can do this. He said all the right things. He sounded great. He was an amazing speaker, but he flopped. With Kingsbury, I don't get that vibe at all. I think he sounds very confident in himself. And again, I'm most excited to see what he can do with Josh Rosen because he's an offensive guy, and he's known to get the most out of his quarterback. So I'm stoked, and I really do think that he's going to be the right fit for this organization. Time will tell if that's true, but I'm willing to give him a chance. I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward to what the future brings. As far as the draft is concerned, we have the first overall pick, like I said at the beginning of the video. I hopefully expect us to trade down from the first overall pick. Hopefully we can get like a king's ransom of picks for a quarterback-needy team. Kyler Murray just declared for the draft, and Dwayne Haskins is going to be a hot commodity. So we have two high-profile quarterbacks coming out of Ohio State and Oklahoma. So I'm hoping we can get a quarterback back needy team to trade with us, and we can stockpile up on some picks. But if not, if we don't move out of that number 1 spot, I expect us to probably take Nick Bosa with the first overall pick, that defensive end from Ohio State. So, which wouldn't be a bad selection. I mean, he's the top prospect in the entire draft. So, I wouldn't be upset. But if that happens, I'm hoping maybe day 2 with the first round pick or the first pick in the second round, we can do some major trading. Ideally, I'd like us to draft N'Keal Harry, the wide receiver out of Arizona State, but I don't see that happening at this point. So, but one can dream because we really need wide receiver help. I don't know if Fitzgerald's coming back, and if he doesn't, all we have is Christian Kirk. So we desperately need to get some receivers and targets for Rosen to throw to. So we'll see. But I think the future for the Cardinals is bright now. I feel much more confident heading into next season that we'll be better. I'm not saying we're going to be a playoff team by any stretch next season, but I know we won't be 3-13 bad. It can't possibly be that bad. At least I hope. So I'm excited to welcome in the new era of Cliff Kingsbury, and we'll go from there. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned. I'll have more content videos coming in the next few days. And thanks, guys, for watching. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button at the very bottom of the screen if you haven't done so already. I would really appreciate that. Other than that, guys, you have a great rest of your afternoon. Take care, God bless, and I will see you all next time.